slow up. No, I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
The gate where goodbye didn't feel enough. Airport, July 31st, 2025. There are kinds of departures that aren't announced over loudspeakers. No boarding call. No glowing gate number. Just the sound of breath being held and eyes that refuse to let go. That morning, it wasn't just planes that took off. Hearts did too. 1 second before he disappeared. 6 a.m. The sky still gray. Dew still washing the runway. And among dozens of travelers heading toward routine, there were hundreds of hearts that refused to return. Kim Taehyung, V of BTS, walked quietly through the airport doors, not to the sound of screams, but into a silence that felt like prayer. No press conference. No farewell wave. Just steady steps, glassy eyes, and a black car that swallowed him like the last shadow of a dream. But the fans already knew. They didn't come to touch. They came to feel. We don't need to be close. We just need to believe. Some arrived the night before. Some waited silently behind barriers, leaning against tired suitcases. Some held worn banners that read, "Thank you, V." Others brought nothing but hopeful hearts. No hysteria. No shouting. Just love, so quiet it made even the sky fall still. And when the car window rolled down just a little, when that smile greeted them one last time, 100 faces cried. Not from sadness, but because they knew. True love doesn't always need to stay. A gate without hugs but full of meaning. Airports aren't stages. But that day it became an altar of silence, where hundreds of fans offered soundless tears and unspoken words. Their gazes spelled poems that were never written. Thank you for coming. We'll stay here. Return safely. And Taehyung, as always, replied in silence. One nod. One wave. One smile now aged in memory. Not fashion. Not music. But the human behind it all. People ask, why wait hours just to watch someone get into a car? The answer isn't popularity. It's not even about him being a global star. It's because they love not just what he creates, but who he is behind all of it. A man who knows when to stop talking and start feeling. Who answers crowds with gentleness. Who faces the world like rain, silent, yet soaking everything he touches. One city, one gate, and 1 second no one will forget. The departure terminal that day wasn't just a transit point. It became sacred space. Some captured the moment with cameras. Some wrote about it in leather journals. Others simply closed their eyes, trying to keep the feeling inside their chest. Because some emotions can't be explained. They can only be remembered. He didn't speak, but everyone heard. Taehyung didn't greet with words, but he spoke with presence. With a quiet that embraced the entire room. With eyes that looked at fans as if seeing home. And they replied, not with requests, but with acceptance. Love doesn't need more. Love just needs to be. Is this the end? No. Because even though his car drove away, his love never really left. Every photo uploaded. Every video replayed. Every whispered, I still see him here. Is ARMY's way of continuing a story that never really ended. He left no footprints on the ground, but on hearts. Now the gate stands empty. The footsteps have faded. But that airport, that terminal is no longer the same. It became witness to a love that asked for nothing more. And when the wind slips between glass and steel, you can hear it softly say, he was here. And he made us feel alive. The gate that became a memory. Now planes fill the sky again. But for the hundreds who stood there that day, one departure weighed more than the rest. Because it wasn't just a body that flew away. It was a bond too vast to explain and too beautiful to forget. V came. He gave. He disappeared. But the feeling remained. On the airport floor, in the morning air, in eyes that still can't sleep. And that's enough. More than enough. After he left, when love stayed behind, Taehyung had disappeared around the corner. His car sped off, swallowing the silence along a road damp with dew and memories. But love never boarded the plane. What was left behind wasn't a body, but a wave. Some fans still stood where they had been since dawn. Not because they expected the car to return, but because they weren't ready to let go of a feeling that hadn't yet finished. One sat cross-legged on the terminal floor, hugging their knees. Another opened a small notebook, writing a single sentence. Today I saw a shooting star at the airport. And one simply stared at the ceiling, wondering, did he see me among all those people? Love that doesn't need to be greeted. No autographs. No selfies. No direct interaction. Yet why were their hearts still full? Because Taehyung has created a kind of connection that doesn't need touch to feel real. Love that isn't spoken but radiated. And everyone present that day felt it. Like sunlight through glass. Unseen but warm on the skin. The airport, where time slowed down. An airport staff member passed by and nodded gently. They've witnessed many farewells. But never like this. Usually, tears fall when families part ways. Today, tears fell because someone's soul felt understood, just through a single wave. Because when V smiled that final time, it wasn't just an expression. It was a silent promise that they hadn't been forgotten. Digital didn't make him distant. In the corner of the room, a small group of armies sat in a circle, phones in hand. They rewatched the video they had just taken minutes ago. Open window. A soft smile. A wave. Tears. Repeat. Tears again. As if watching it over and over was their way of bandaging the longing before it could fully bloom. Someone whispered, "If I close my eyes, I can still feel his aura." And no one disagreed. Because it was true. Some presences remain, even after the body is gone. Not an end, but a new beginning. As the terminal grew quiet, the fans began to slowly walk away. But their steps weren't the same as when they came. There was a gentle weight in their chests. Something had changed. Not a sense of loss, but a kind of acknowledgement. That they were part of something bigger than a concert, deeper than a fandom. A bond that can't be bought. That love still lives in them. On the train home, one fan played Sweet Night. She closed her eyes and smiled, holding back tears. At the airport cafe, two armies wrote letters to Taehyung, even though they knew he might never read them. But it wasn't about being read. It was about honoring a feeling. And in hotels near the airport, many were still posting photos with captions like, "He saw us. I'll remember this day forever." Even in goodbye, he gave us love. One song, one name, one promise. And as night fell and other planes filled the sky, his name still echoed like a prayer in the quiet. Taehyung, fly as high as the skies you dream of. But remember, at that departure gate, there's a love that will never leave.
I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no